he would be delighted. I think that what makes Gavin special is he has the absolute passion to connect with human beings. And then in addition to that, he's able to communicate that passion through words and through his facial expression and like through his body language, like, yeah. And then he is able to create community by modeling that behavior first and then stepping aside so that other people can welcome others.
Mm.
And then after that, he is able to um, he's able to show up vulnerably in a way of like, there was that one time when Kemma was going to come in late and he was visibly torn, like, I don't know if I should let her in right now, I really want her to be here. and and that was a moment of an oh shit moment that was totally out there, which makes him very approachable and very human.
Hmm.
So those are some of the things. And then the last one, and I think that everyone's X factor is different and definition of X factor is different, just like everyone's definition of relationship is different. What I feel like is part of his X factor is his dedication to
Sable, you want to add something else to that?
You know, it just froze. You were about to say the last X factor, and I was frozen, so I didn't hear the last part. But if you want to repeat maybe the last 20 seconds, I'd be happy to add to it.
CK. Can you help? I don't remember.
That's because you were in flow.
His his context in which is in service of people, of others, right? You can say it was palpable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's actually very similar to the last thing that I was going to add was that he has an amazing ability to really make you feel like he is 100% fully focused on you. You know, when you're in Flow Masters or outside of Flow Masters, every conversation I've had with him, there's never been a moment where I saw him looking at his watch or looking at his phone or looking around the room to see what else is going on other than, you know, directly looking into the screen at you. And I think that's definitely one of the things that I don't know if you would call that an X factor or not, but, you know, I do find that when I see a lot of other people doing similar things to him and I see how they get distracted by whatever else is going on, you know, there is something about that strength of like just being 100% there and connected with the person that I think really, you know, draws someone in and feels like, hey, this person is here for me. He's not here to just perform this service and do it the same way for everyone, but he's actually really actively paying attention to the words that I'm saying. And when he gives the feedback that is really spot on, I think that that really comes through because, you know, there are times when I've called on people to give acknowledgments for other people's shares, and sometimes I pick them because I see like their attention kind of wandering, so I could hear them just trying to make up something that sounds pretty good that's in the context of what everybody else was saying. And it looks like you two are frozen right now. um
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome. You guys were frozen on my screen. So I was like, oh no. But yeah, you know, to me, that's one of the things that I'm working on the most, which is, you know, really just not just being focused, but like just so laser focused where when my Apple Watch is buzzing or like my phone just buzzed on the table, you know, I'm not even paying attention to it and just really locked in and full flow with what I'm doing. So I think that's also one of the things that is one of his X factors.
Yeah. And I wonder if he turns off his buzz,
Is what?
his
I'm going to
buzzer.
turn mine off right now.
There you go. Awesome. Thank you.
I hear a hummingbird. I'm on a farm, by the way. I just picked all these from
Wow.
the ground, from the land. Oh, and I have a pear. I have a pear in my pocket.
Are those for us? Virtual?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank
This is for you. I already ate so many. I'm so full. Oh, here's a peach tree. I just realized I missed two.
Ooh. Well, hey, guess what? You know, I just noticed that the two people here in the room with me are also two whose intentions was to lean into the rhyming more. And here we are
Ooh.
on a Sunday.
Wait, I think it was Marcus who wanted to lean into the rhyme.
Oh, it was Marcus. Okay, that's right.
CK
That's
wanted
right.
to lean in. Both CK and I want to lean into the fun.
Yes, yes. Well, I know CK also wants to lean into the rhyming more too. We all know that he is a very, very wise man on the top of the mountain that could spit prophetic things, but also we want to see the rhymer come out. I want to see the guy with the sharp tongue, the one that bites his tongue when there's another coworker that's saying something that he really wants to say, hey, you're being an idiot right now. No, you're not a good catch, dude.
Yeah. Those are things that I wish I. So it's interesting. So I don't. How do I articulate it?
Should we start flowing? Should we put some background music so that CK can express this in a flow?
Yeah, you guys can't hear it?
No.
Oh,
No music.
really? Oh,
You're not
hold on.
sharing computer sound, are you?
I thought I was. Hold on.
Sometimes you have to close Spotify and reopen it, in my
Okay.
experience.
Do you hear music now?
Nope.
So, while you do that, I just want to say when I was having a conversation with Gavin about there it is.
Can hear it
so
now.
I was the only one listening to music this whole time.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was silent. Can you turn it down just a smidge?
Yeah. How's that?
Maybe a tiny more.
Tiny more. Okay. How's that?
Yeah, a little more.
A little more. Okay. Now it sounds like CK is a little drowned out. CK, can you speak?
CK.
Sure, I can speak. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
You can. Okay. Perfect.
Feels perfect.
So I was speaking to Gavin about X Factor, and one of the things we distinguished were context, skills, and both of your.
You're coming in and out, CK.
No?
Yeah, if you lean forward a little though, maybe.
Let me use a better mic. A moment. Now I'm getting serious.
Now you're getting serious. Yes. Hey, is this the same room that you normally do your podcast in as well, where all the things in the back over here? With
Yeah,
like
the living room.
Okay.
All right. Try it again. How's this? Better?
Ooh, yeah, so much better.
Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. So speaking to Gavin about X factors, we had talk about frameworks about what it means to have an X factor. We talked about context, skills, and intention. And funny enough, both of your name came up for someone with X factor. He specifically talked about you, Kim, how you are just a spiritual badass, and he just has so much admiration for you. He's so appreciative of how I brought in people who resonate on a really high vibration and skills. So I just wanted to make sure that both of you know that, your name came up when we were speaking about X factors. Okay. So what was the other question that you wanted me to talk about?
Oh,
There's another question? I don't remember.
There was the initial thing, CK is about to talk about blah, blah, blah.
CK is about to tell his coworker what is really on his mind.
Oh, right. Yeah. I was about to on the spot. And oftentimes I would, you know, hit myself on the head and said, I should have said this 20 or 30 minutes later. That would have been brilliant. That would have been a great comeback. Like, you know, you got who say you're a good catch, things like that, you know. But in the moment, I got too many things on my mind to articulate, to capture what it is I really want to articulate. And that's also the reason why when I speak, I don't speak in my full power. I speak 5% of what I'm actually capable of speaking. There's a little bit of hesitancy. There's a little bit of what am I supposed to say? And it's only in whether it be smoking some ganja or in ayahuasca where I completely let go and things will come out of me without any kind of consideration about what am I supposed to say. So Flow Master has been tremendous in helping me just speak my mind more freely without constraint.
I'm so happy to hear that, CK, and grateful that you brought where I found immunity to the type of loneliness that was starving me, the creativity loneliness, the starved of. There's a room full of people who are struggling with me, muggling with me in this wizarding world. And I'd love to tell you guys about my day.
Yes.
Please do.
It was pretty peachy and hard. It was so challenging. I woke up to a conversation with a friend named Helen in Bali. And I was about to go into my poetry group, which is my church, my happy place, my other flowetry zone when I can write those poems. And my laptop wouldn't turn on. And I kept trying Control, Escape, R. I had to skip my church. And even though my heart was lurched, I called Apple support. And it was a very kind fellow who walked me through all sorts of keys and restarts. And finally, it was almost 12 p.m. I'd been on it for an hour. He says, I'll book you an appointment. Where do you live? I said, Santa Fe. He said, I'll book you an appointment for 1:25 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Like, fuck. All right, book it. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but book it. I'm like asking my roommate, hey, I don't know how to get down to Albuquerque. And she said, I wish I could help you. But I already have something going on. You can borrow my car. And that would have been a 5-star response had I had a driver's license. Hi, I'm 30. I'm Kim. I'm 30. I don't have a driver's license. I've been a city girl for a long time. And even though I can rhyme sometimes, I don't have a driver's license, so I can't take your car. So I'm sitting there, all stressed out on the couch. I'm pausing because I'm like, what rhymes with couch? Pouch.
Or ouch.
Ouch. Thank you. Man, I was really feeling my ouch in that moment in time. Who can help me? I called my friends. I went on the Santa Fe bulletin board on Facebook groups. And as I was waiting, a man walks into my house. And he tries to hand me some cash. And his car says DoorDash. Truly, it's red. And he says, I was your Instacart guy. a few nights ago, and there was a refund that I never gave you, and it's been on my mind. And I said, wow, you're so kind. You didn't have to. Thank you for your integrity and your humanity. I accepted the $16. And then I said, hey, can you drive me to the Apple store in Albuquerque, New Mexico? You want to go on a road trip? And with almost no hesitation, he said, all right, let's do it. I promised to pay him $30, which was less than double what he gave me in my hand. I said, hey, I'll give you this and a little more. How's 30? And he's like, sounds great. We get on a road trip, and his name is Eric. He has a 10-year-old daughter, and he's a talker. He's trying to quit smoking. So I share with him my own journey with reaching towards food when I feel anxiety or sadness or anger. And as he talks about politics, he lights up a cigarette and starts to smoke. I said, what's the emotion that comes up when you reach for a cigarette? And he says, anger. I said, is it because we were talking about politics? I wasn't talking about politics. He was talking about politics. I said, yeah. I said, what would it be like to sit in the discomfort? My computer is completely shot. I don't know when I'm going to get it back. Maybe in 14 days from the Apple warehouse. They shipped my computer away. And I feel like a helpless baby without it. It's like, I don't know how to function without it. And as we're coming right back, I said, hey, I have to send some emails to my manager, and I had a parent project filming, and I'm in a high anxiety place. Will you give me a little bit of, I won't be able to multitask. He gives me the space for my anxiety place. And in silence, we both sat in discomfort in his car for a good 20 minutes. And then afterwards, I high-fived him. I was like, hey, hell yeah, man. We sat in our discomfort for 20 minutes. If we can do 20 minutes, we can do an hour. And he promised not to smoke on the way up, and he didn't. And now I'm at a friend's farm picking peaches. And so it's been a day full of play and meeting strangers and challenges and sitting in discomfort and sharing anxiety and
Manifesting.
just being in the flow zone, you know? The flow zone's not always all joyous and happy, but I am grateful for today. Thank you for listening. Threw in a few rhymes in there. More next time.
Love it.
Yeah, that was so. Yeah,
I was
sorry. Go ahead.
I was on the trip with you.
What'd you say?
I was on the trip with you, experiencing all the ups and downs, all the anxiety, all the joyous discoveries, all of the beauty of connection you and this guy created. He also created some beautiful spaces you have a breakthrough around. So you truly are a witchy witch.
Hi. Thank you.
I'm curious. Like he had said he felt some anxiety talking about politics. Were you guys kind of on opposite ends of the political spectrum, or was it just kind of frustration in general?
Frustration in general. He agreed with everything I said, even if I didn't agree with everything he said, which was really interesting because I would argue with him. He would say, laughter is the best medicine. And I said, I think laughter is one of the best medicines, along with a temper tantrum and crying, and laughter is one medicine. And he agreed with me. But he just, mostly he talked at me, not with me. And he would get angry at some of the topics that he was coming up with.
That's very interesting. I've been in many Uber rides with a bunch of people with different political beliefs. And it's interesting navigating the conversations because on one side, I could tell, or at least I know on my side, whenever I hear something triggering, I just kind of go along with it and I want to hear a little bit more. And then sometimes I wonder if what I said was triggering for him and he's just kind of letting me go on as well. But,
Yeah.
it's really
I think,
interesting. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I think the only time I triggered him was when I said, "Are you uncomfortable with silence?" And he said, "No, sometimes." I said, "Yeah, me too. I used to be."
Well, it sounds like you very much kind of gently challenged a lot of some beliefs that he had about certain things and then ultimately gave him some realizations about why he smokes. And I tend to think that for a lot of people, smoking's obviously something that takes a long time to build up that habit and it takes a long time to unbuild it. But I think that you having him sit in that emotion, made, like, I'm hoping that was like the seed that was planted in him to be like, wow, every time I reach for this cigarette now, let me just do a quick self-analysis of what's going on in my body. Maybe I could just sit with this without putting, tobacco smoke into my lungs. And maybe sometimes he doesn't want to sit with it and just smokes, no big deal. But at least maybe now he could cut that down a third of the time, half the time, maybe even, 3/4 of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, his dad died of lung cancer. He was a smoker, and my grandfather died of lung cancer. So we really connected on that. Yeah. Well, I'll be computerless for a little bit of time, but I'm going to sit with the challenge and the discomfort.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask next is what are you going to do for the next 2 weeks without your computer?
I still have to work. So I'm going to see if I can do everything on my Bluetooth keyboard, just typing directly onto my phone. And I think I'm going to I work at a leadership development company, and we have a KCK. We have a training. So I feel really grateful that they'll pay for personal development training, and we have a 3-day training that's like 8 hours a day. I really don't want to do it on my phone, so I think I might be able to borrow someone's iPad or laptop. I think that would be so great.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can only imagine trying to feverishly take down notes for 8 hours a day on your phone and how crazy. I mean, I've actually, some of my, I think they might be Gen Z employees. I don't know their age exactly, but I know they're only a few years out of college, but they take 100% of their notes on their smartphones. And it's just insane. It's insane that they're like, hey, why are you taking out your laptop? I'm like, oh, I just want to write some notes that are quicker. And they're like, you need your laptop for that? And I was like, yeah, I could type faster. And they're like, so it's just interesting, like the different paradigms of like when you grow up and, I think they're just so used to having it in their pockets and speaking into it, using their thumbs and, whatever hybrid of speaking and typing at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you know what? I think I'm going to try to do some rhyming. Let me see what happened today. What happened today for me? I'm just going to turn it up a little for myself. All right. The song's almost over, so let me go to the next song here.
Oh, those are the best, CK. That chair, those are the best. The memory foam.
Oh, I was going to say that looks like some sort of like meditation pad or something that you could sit on.
It's a flapjack. It's like a memory foam flapjack, but it's like a full-on lush couch.
Yeah, for an ayahuasca ceremony.
Ooh.
Nice. Smoothie. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
Oh, all right. Yo, today, it was a really good day. I saw my mother-in-law, my father-in-law too. We had a picnic outside, and they asked me, what am I up to? And I said, believe it or not, I'm thinking about selling my companies. And my father-in-law said, what are you gonna do next? And I told him, Told him I thought I'd be coaching. And he said, what would you be coaching? And I said, I'm starting off doing business coaching, but what I really want to do is help people change their mindsets. And right now I'm doing it in the context of their business, but what I'd rather do is in the context of their whole lives and really go deeper. And he said, do you need HIPAA compliance for that? And I was like, man, why are you asking me about HIPAA compliance when I just told you I'm working on the business side of things? And he just said, well, it sounds like you're going to be tapping into people's brain and their psyches. And, you know, sometimes you could be messing them up if you give them the wrong advice. And I told him, well, that's the difference between coaching and therapy is helping people get to baseline, and I'm helping people who are at baseline improve their jobs and improve their ability to do whatever they want. And he said, wow, I didn't know that that profession even existed before. And it was really interesting talking to someone who just turned 80, because, you know, he told me that in his whole life, he's never seen something like COVID-19, and how he's really worried that that this isn't going to be the last pandemic. And he was asking how school was going for the kids. And Savannah said that she loves school, but she hasn't met any friends because they're just looking at a Zoom screen. And, you know, it's really hard to connect with other kids through the Zoom screen. And he was very much, I could see that it was hard for him to understand, you know, this new normal that we're in. But I told him, you know, we just got to adjust. You know, there hasn't been precedence for this type of environment before. You know, like, I think it's not good for the kids, but who knows? Maybe something good might come out of it. Maybe there might be less bullying. I don't know, but he was super concerned about the future. And I told him, well, you know, we just take it one day at a time, and the world doesn't end no matter what happens. And even though, you know, like, there's a lot of, I mean, he's a pretty famous chemist, so he was pretty sure that, you know, we'll be seeing vaccines pretty soon, but he was also worried about mutations that may happen. And it was kind of easy to see that when you're older, especially the fact that he just turned 80, you know, he's very much, I think, in this mindset of like making sure that when he's gone, you know, we're taken care of, the grandkids are taken care of, and very much being concerned. But I told him the way I looked at it today is that, you know, just like when a caterpillar turns into or creates a cocoon to go into, you know, like, I believe we're in that cocoon phase where it's really hard to see what's going to come out of it, but I do believe that something better will come out of it. And I think I told him, actually, like, Flow Masters, I gave him Flow Masters as this example of a virtual community that formed, and no one's ever met each other than kind of digitally, and the bond that's been created through this community, in my opinion, is just as strong as any face-to-face, in-person community that I've been a part of. And he was really kind of curious about that. He asked, you know, what do you guys do? You know, why freestyling over music? And I explained to him that it's not about rhyming, and it's not so much about even being on beat. You know, it's allowing the music to touch a certain part of you so that you could give yourself permission to speak your authentic truth. And, you know, that concept like really blew his mind. And I actually played a few clips from my mother-in-law, and my mother-in-law was blown away. She saw other men acknowledging other men. And at one point, I think she heard Omar say, "I love you" to another man. And she couldn't believe, like, that this was going on, and that these were strangers, or not strangers, but, you know, people that I've never met in real life. So, you know, after seeing their faces, you know, it really did actually made me think, you know, like Gavin and I in our meetings, sometimes we'll talk about changing the world. And, you know, people say that in a way where, I mean, I've just heard it so much in Silicon Valley where it's almost just a platitude. Hey, we're going to change the world with this. But, you know, seeing the looks on like my mother and father-in-law's faces about, you know, what they saw kind of this next generation of humans doing with this technology, it did really make me think that it would change the world. And my mother-in-law in particular, you know, when she grew up in the Cultural Revolution, so her father was actually shot in the head, ironically survived that bullet wound and crawled out of like this like giant cemetery. But like emotional development for her. I mean, she got divorced 8 years ago and remarried my father-in-law, but that's when she started really understanding that the psychology that she grew up with, or the framework that she grew up with, that just doesn't serve her anymore. And she was telling me that, like, when she was growing up, that if you had psychological issues, they thought that they were like spirits that were taking over your body. So it wasn't about getting better, it was about exercising those spirits. So, she had recently gone through this kind of like emotional breakthrough after her divorce, and to really, heal herself so that she could open up and remarry. And yeah, she said when she saw the men doing similar things, like, she couldn't believe. She's like, wait, you guys, didn't have to go through a divorce to start talking like this? I'm like, yeah, most of these guys aren't even married here, like, I'm the only one, or I guess CK is the only one aside from that has been married. And yeah, it was just really just kind of, not that I take Flow Masters for granted, but seeing someone else's like first time viewing like what goes on in Flow Masters and how impressed they were, it really did kind of like make me remember like why we always show up on Fridays and why we're so excited for Fridays. So yeah, thanks for allowing me to share my afternoon.
Yo, Seibo, your father and mother-in-law, they're pretty dope. They're very growth-minded, and they're very curious. They're very open-minded. They ask you questions rather than impose their own thoughts, rather than impose their own values. And then they're willing to be surprised and be in awe about what's possible in communication, in self authentic expression. So it's really awesome that you get a chance to make a difference with people that are in their 80s, their second marriage, and actually open their eyes, open their mind about what's it like to not perpetuate the intergenerational of trauma, of limiting belief, of love or lack of love, and that you're being a great catalyst in changing your family. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, Seibo, because I am taking it for granted. The people who show up at Flow Masters are the people that I already spend time with. The way that we speak is the way that I speak. I am the average of the people I speak with. Also, oh, hi, Daisy. Hi, Daisy. Hi.
Daisy.
Oh, hello. It's my friend Joanna's birthday, which is why I'm here at the farm. And, oh, yay. I brought you, you're so welcome. I brought you some more wine. I'm with my rap flow group. we're just doing a rap flow here. I want to give you a hug. Happy birthday. So good to see you.
How's your day?
Oh, you look so beautiful.
One of the things
So
I
good.
wish
I mean, oh my God, why did I say
is that the right environment cultivate or normalize the idea, the desired behavior that we want to create. So Flow Masters, to me, normalized behavior is authentic self-expression, no holds barred, speaking our truth, and also acknowledging what, from moment to moment, what the limiting beliefs may be, and say, oh, wait a minute, I wanted to say that, but I was afraid to say that. I feel a little fear, and now what I'm gonna say is this: you may be a little punk ass bitch, that you're not all that, and at the same time, I still love you. I love you anyway. So,
Yeah. Hey, you know what I would love to hear, CK, is you mentioned right now that you're speaking at 5% of your power. So if you were to unlock that other 95%, what would that change in your life?
yeah. Part of masculinity is the power of claiming what's rightfully mine, claiming what is it that I want, claiming what is it that I desire, claiming what I wanted to manifest. And the fact that I'm able to manifest powerfully, whatever it may be in my life, with only 5% of my power. What's possible if I actually speak with 100%, 95% of my full power, so I can claim, go after everything that I want without hesitation, without resistance, without any kind of concerns about judgment or anything like that. So what's possible with the power of a mind manifestation would be so much bigger, so much wider, and the impact that I can make to others who see who I am as an energetic being, as an energetic condition, would just be so much wider. There are so many people out there, I believe, who is searching for me, but they can't hear me because I only speak with 5% of my power.
Oh man, that was so dope. That was so dope. I'm gonna try to rhyme to something about that. Yo. If this is just 5%, the world should watch out, because when CK unlocks the power, it's gonna be time to watch out. Because why? Because that extra 95 is just going to be giving people what? Well, the song's over, so I'm gonna wait for the next beat for you to get that surprise. But man, that is so interesting, you know, like if you really, okay, so I know 5% was the number that you said, but is that the actual percentage that you think you're at, or do you think you're higher than 5%?
Given how soft-spoken I am, how slow I speak, there's certainly a lot of room for improvement. It's definitely not 50. It's definitely less than 50, 40% maybe, 30%
Wow.
maybe. So,
Wow, that's so dope. All right. Yo, that's so much untapped potential, because if you don't tap into it, you can't be as influential. Yes, the people that want to find you, they have to hear you, because if you speak and they don't hear, well, it's like not speaking at all, right? And sometimes you got to put up the right fight and make yourself uncomfortable. That's why you show up with us. And for me, my favorite thing is watching you blow up. 2 weeks ago, I think Gavin had you go, and we were just like, holy shit, what's going on with CK? The smile on your face, it made me smile so much because I could see you release. And when you release the beast, it's like the world's gonna be your feast. And what's going on in New Mexico right now? I kind of want to be on that farm. It looks so beautiful, but you know what? I'm right here with you, CK, in the Sunday Flow Lot, and we're gonna work on unlocking that. And you know what? I've already told you I was kind of intimidated by your wisdom, but if you got 95% more for it, I'm like, oh shit, what's gonna happen when he taps into that? It's gonna be like Thanos getting the 6th infinity ring, and he could snap his fingers and just make anyone sing. And yes, this is what's really cool. I feel like we all have X factors. You, Gavin, Kim, and me, but the X factor is just a little bit different. And how do we cultivate that? I'm not too sure, but I heard you break down the atomic units today, so I'm gonna go think about that a little bit more after this, because right now I wanted to actually not be thinking, because I think that's a state of no mind. That's how we start rapping, and we don't really mind anyone around us. We just say what we feel like. And what I feel like right now is just saying thank you, CK, for being able to get things down to the atomic unit, because when you break things down like that, you start understanding them in ways that make it seem so much more digestible. When you have this high level concept that seems so massive and so complex, and you break it down into the atomic units, then you start realizing, oh, every complex thing can be broken down into simplistic things. And once you see the simple side, at least for me, I go, oh shit, I could actually do this. This isn't just for someone with a PhD or advanced degree. This could be me. This could be you. This could be Kim. She's back right now. Maybe she'll turn on the phone. I don't know what she's gonna do. She's at her home. She might be doing a luau right now with some pigs or something like that. I don't really know, but I'm not too fat. I'm actually really skinny, and I've been working on my body. But you know what? Sometimes I drink so many calories that my rectum doesn't like me no more. It's like, Seibo, you're overworking me. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm just trying to get buffed. It was the summer, but I guess the summer's over. But it's still hot right here because I'm near the fires. And when you go outside, yo, your eyes get tired because of smoke. It's just too much. I be feeling like a joke sometimes, like, yo, 2020, it's hit after hit. But you know what? I get up after every single hit, and every time I get knocked down, I learn something new. So now when I get knocked down, I'm like, oh shit, this is kind of cool. Before, when I used to feel this pain, I didn't want to sit in it. Then I realized when I sit in it, I learn from it and I can release it. It's not something that's just buried down in my stomach, in the pits. And yo, it's time to stay lit. Yo, CK, what do you got to say? Yo, I think it's your turn to bless us today.
Yo, Seibo, your X Factor, let's talk about that. For you, have a big brother vibe, your love, your heart, your and it's all for all the good. What you committed to in your family, for everyone you love. You stand for your truth. Stand for the highest truth. You're not afraid to speak the truth about, hey, yo, this doesn't work for you. Hey, yo, this is, you know, the opposite thing that you should be doing. So your X Factor to me is someone who is, first and foremost, you love others up about what they could do. Starting from being an example of what it could be. Standing in courage, standing in higher commitment, standing in, hey, I love you, and you need to hear this. Because if you don't hear it, everyone else is going to be so nice to you and pretend that nothing is wrong, nothing happens, and you're able to speak the truth. That's why I believe this path of coaching is a noble path for you, because this is something that you're already good at, that you're already doing. And I want you to hear this from me. I was on the call on Friday or look up to you as a big brother, and that is very apparent to anyone who is paying attention to what unique X factor that you have to offer. So what I'll say to you right now is, my friend, own up to your X factor and just continue to walk on that path. Don't hesitate. Don't worry about business models, funnels, you know, lead generation, and all those things. All those are just noise. Starting emanate from your X factor. Everything else will come to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? You were right inside my head, because I have been worrying about lead funnels and lead magnets and websites and logos and all this other stuff that isn't where my focus should be right now, which is how to be a better coach. And CK, I really appreciate those words. There is a part of me that, despite coaching a lot of employees, you know, I'm around a lot of coaches. So of course I feel an inferiority complex next to my more experienced coaches. But at the same time, I understand, well, we all need to start somewhere. And, you know, just like I tell other people, go do something uncomfortable, grow. I'm going to go do something uncomfortable and try to grow myself. But having the support of someone like yourself, saying that kind of like what you've noticed as my X factor will really translate into my coaching career and my desire to help people. And like you said about Gavin, our desire to serve, you know, my desire to serve people, you know, will, I believe, keep me very grounded and centered as I'm on this wonderful journey with all of you guys. So thank you.
You want to add, Kim?
Yeah, absolutely. This is Daisy.
Hey, Daisy.
Hey, Daisy.
So, what can I say about Seibo's X Factor? I'm going to try to rhyme this. Seibo's X factor is love. It's not the kind of love that it's, I love you because you did something for me. It's the kind of love of, I love you even if you didn't do anything. That is so clear. Nobody has to do anything to be loved by Seibo, and that is part of your X factor. Man, it's so hard to flow and rhyme.
Just let it go. Let it flow.
Oy, oy.
You're doing awesome. Just keep going.
Thank you. I just want to speak, but I want to challenge myself. So I'm going to stay in the struggle a little bit and say, Seibo, your X factor is undeniable love when you show up for each human being. May it be your daughter's friends, her father, her mother, or any of these participants. The way that you speak about them, somebody, is as if they're already divine. And if they're acting in a way that is out of integrity, you still see their divinity. You just see it as they're not there yet. And that's something that's incredibly special about you, Seibo, because a lot of people love conditionally. Sometimes I feel like I do. And where you come from is unconditional. Your love is so abundant that it touches everybody, and they don't have to achieve in order to be touched by it. They don't have to strive in order to be enough. And that's the biggest part of what I see in you, Seibo, as your X factor that makes you so special. I wish I rhymed more of that, but coming up.
It didn't have to rhyme. I received it fully. You know, I do try to love unconditionally. You know, I always try to tell my kids, you know, I love you not because you did something good, or, you know, if daddy's reprimanding you, you're not bad. It's what you did that was bad. And to really accept them for who they are, their own unique individual souls. And, you know, beyond that, I try to extend that to as many people as possible. And I'm not always perfect with it. You know, I mean, there are many times that my love is conditional, but, you know, there's a part of me that will always remind myself, you know, like in the case of my friend Senthil, he grew up with traditional Indian parents whose definition of love was different than how we see it. You know, it's kind of like a business transaction with the dowry, and, you know, the wife is supposed to be very maternal and take care of everything. And, you know, you said something, Kimberly, that really resonated with me, which was he didn't have anyone to model himself after. So he can't see when he's doing something wrong, you know? And
Yeah.
those are the things that I always try to remind myself when he's saying these things, that as a fellow father just get me so heated where, you know, I start seeing red, and, you know, it's like, how could someone even have that reality when they're talking about their family? But, you know, at the same time, it's like, well, if you don't know those are your blind spots, you know, I can't really hold you accountable for those. And I have to do my best to try and allow you to see those blind spots so that you can make those corrections. And yeah, so thank you so much for that, Kimberly. It's continually allowing me to find more patience in myself. But at the same time, you know, I'm also very proud of like standing up when I needed to stand up and what I felt was right.
Yeah.
You know, so thank you, you know, and I'm very much trying to, it's like, understand which tools to use at the right time. You know, when should I be stern and when should I be more loving and open space for him? And, you know, I think I'm getting better at being conscious about when to when to bring out those certain sides of myself so that it will be productive versus me just, you know, like I know that me losing my temper was the right thing to do, but the reason why I'm still a little bit judgmental is that I had no control over myself when that was happening. You know, it was just like, oh shit, you said something and I'm fucking pissed off now and I'm unloading versus me going, okay. And maybe, yeah, I go back and forth because sometimes it's like, I'm glad he saw me just, you know, not able to control myself because he knows that I control my emotions very well. So seeing that side of me. So I guess I just go back and forth a little, but at the same time, I'm also very happy that I allowed myself to express myself in that way, but also having more awareness that if it happens again, that I would love to be able to choose like when I'm going to release 100% versus thinking about like, is this the right thing? Is this helping this situation? You know, versus just me feeling good about releasing, I guess is where I was going with that.
Yeah. I think there's a way. There's a way to express anger while holding love at the same time. I'm so angry at you, and I'm angry because I love you. Because this means so much for me. This is one of the most important things for me. Like, being a father is one of the most important things to me, and watching something happen like this makes me so angry because I care so much. I think it's possible, Seibo.
I feel like it too. And I will work to get to that point. You know what? I would like to talk about CK's X Factor.
We'll have to run after CK's X Factor.
Okay.
Oh, in that case, we should do you. No.
Nah, I wanna. Yeah, I would like to do CK's. Do you mind if I go first?
Yes, please do, Kimberly.
Because it is my friend Joanna's 30th birthday today, and I want to fully celebrate her.
Yes.
And so after my sunset walk, I'll quietly leave when at the right moment. Wow, I wish I could stay longer. I really want to say more about CK's X Factor. CK, your X Factor is the way that you want to understand everything in the world. I don't think there's anything in the world that you don't want to understand better. Your your hunger and thirst for curiosity is so beautiful and inspiring that I remember there was a moment you said, I'm trying this like tracking tool called Roam, and I was like, great, let's get on a call. And you showed me what it looked like, and I love that you geek out on these things that I love to geek out on as well. And I remember I was like, hey, CK, I tracked all of my identities in a spreadsheet. You're like, show me, I want to see. I'm like, you actually want to see those things? Like, nobody wants to see those things. So your curiosity is the #1 X factor that I can think of. It's like, I feel like anything that you ever want to know, you're going to know it. Yep. No, not Gavin. Seibo.
Yeah, so to me, I definitely agree with you. His curiosity and wanting to understand things. I haven't met many people with that level. You know, I consider myself someone that's also very curious, but I could see that I get to like a certain level of any topic, and then I could see like my interest kind of like peter off. Whereas with CK, like it seems like, you know, once he gets past the surface level, the second level, the third level, then he's like, whoa, there's like 10 more levels below the third level. I'm just going to go to level 13. And I'm kind of like, you know, level 3 covers like most of like what normal conversation will cover, so I'll just stop here. But what I really like is that, especially as I've gotten to know CK better, is that there's like kind of like this prankster, kind of like very like jokey, maybe a little bit sarcastic side to him that I'm starting to see like a little bit more every week, you know. And I think CK, I had told you this, that like, you know, a lot of the shamans that I've met in the past, the ones that I felt like I was most connected with, the ones that I felt were very high level, also kind of had like this like jokester, prankster element to them where, you know, like you could tell they were very serious when they were talking about the things that they were serious about. But once they were done, it was like, you know, just almost like hanging out with your friends, and they could drop this like, I'm this, you know, high priestess or high shaman, and just interact with people like you were one of the people. So that's the part where I feel like CK's X factor is going to keep growing, where he's been able to do so much with, you know, he said with being able to vocalize 5% of his actual capabilities of vocalizing what he wants to. And he also said that the people that he wants to help, he wants to make sure that those people hear him. And I very much, with full confidence, believe that, you know, over the next few months with Flow Masters, as we keep working on self-expression and keep pushing ourselves each week to rhyme a little bit more, to have more emotional dynamism in our voice, that when this is all said and done, you know, there's going to be something very special about CK's Noble Warrior project that takes it from something that we just listened to something that a lot of people listen to. And the reason I know this is my wife has heard me on literally, like, I don't want to say hundreds, but more podcasts than a wife should listen to her husband being interviewed on. And she said that the interview that I did with you, CK, that she learned new things about me during that interview. So I was like, man, there's something about whatever transpired that you were able to tap into a part of me to tell stories that, you know, my wife, who I've been married to for 12 years, but we've been together now since 2003, so 17 years total, you know, had never heard before, you know. So that's where I think, well, not just I think, I know, as your X Factors blossoms, you know, you're going to be able to really connect with your audience in ways that you currently can't imagine right now. And I believe that just like as I believe I'm tapping into my calling and why things are happening so quickly for me in this space, is that when you really align your throat chakra, or whatever you want to call your, whatever's holding you back from truly saying what you want to say, CK, dude, the world's going to be in fucking trouble, but trouble in a good way, you know? And that's what I see as your X factor, CK, is that curiosity all the way down to the atomic unit, then being able to distill that down into something that's easily understandable. And then once you remove that last filter of how should I say this, to just, this is how CK wants to say it, then I completely believe with all my heart that you will connect with all those people that could really benefit from your guidance. And how do I know? Well, you've connected with me. And yeah, I mean, like I said, my wife learning new things about me, and that podcast should tell you all, like, or everything you need to know about your ability to interview people and tap into areas that allow them to talk about things that are very important to them, and sometimes details that, you know, even their loved ones don't know. And I do believe that once you unlock that last 95%, 5% at a time, man, you're just going to see everything in your life kind of follow suit as well. Because, you know, like me being intimidated by you is me showing respect of your like knowledge, but I do also think it's that same intimidation that I got. Maybe other listeners who want to be learning from you may also feel like, wow, this guy is just so high up there. He has a PhD, he runs a startup, he's also into plant medicines too. What the fuck can't this guy do, you know? And I do think like once I started seeing you kind of like more of your jokey side come out, and maybe even that sarcastic side, then I was like, oh shit, oh no, he's just not the wise man that sits at the top of the mountain. He's the guy that I could smoke weed with too, you know? And then that made it like so much more relatable, where I didn't feel like when I showed up with CK, I had to use like the biggest words. Like that's actually, I had enough intimidation where I was like, you know what, I gotta come with my A game and start using these multi-syllabic words to try to sound like, you know, someone that you would respect, which at this point is like, why was I even thinking that in the beginning? But yeah, you know, like, you know, I just wanted to share that with you, because if someone like me would feel that way, then I would imagine that, you know, other folks also feel that way too. And as much as that intellect brings you that respect, maybe it also keeps people from fully connecting with you the way that you'd like them to connect with you.
Thank you both. I received your beautiful gifts today. For the longest time, I thought my curiosity was a liability.
Can you repeat that part? For the longest time, you thought your curiosity what?
Was a liability, not an asset. I remember there was a time where my sister-in-law told my brother behind my back, saying that, oh my God, it's so intimidating talking to CK. It's so serious. I was like, holy shit, I better scale back. And so I try to, you know, curtail my curiosity around my sister-in-law so that such that she can relate to me. And thank you so much for letting me know that your wife actually got to know side of you that she's never known. That's a testament, that's a true testament of how the interview could be for others. One of my biggest challenge right now is how do I connect with an audience? How do I actually ensure that this is not just self-indulgent for me, but also is informative, insightful, you know, something that leads to epiphany when people listen to it. So thank you for letting me know that. I appreciate both of your encouragement to allow myself to let go of my block around my throat chakra.
So what if it's self-indulgence?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true.
And that it lights up the person that you're asking questions about, and their wife of 17 years learns something about her husband.
That is true.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh man. And then Kim, I know you have a birthday party to go to next, but
I gotta go.
I really love this exercise actually. This is like a really cool exercise. Like I feel like so good about myself right now. Being able to tell other people that made me feel like even better than when I was receiving it. This might be a new game that we do on Fridays.
Awesome.
Affirmation parties.
Yeah.
I think it would only work for people who already know each other.
True. Exactly. Exactly.
So I do this with my pod too. There's a pod that I do the parent project with.
That's awesome.
There would be like an entire 2 hours dedicated to affirmations and another 2 hours dedicated to feedback.
You want us to do just a couple minutes before you gotta go?
No, not today. Another time. I'd love to jump back in. I love this. I love the small groups. 3 is my favorite number for 3 to 4 is my favorite number for calls.
All right.
So I feel like it's my lucky day. Much love.
A lot of love to you.
Thank you for spontaneity.
See you later, Kim.
Bye, Kim.
Bye.
All right, CK. Well, I'm gonna get dinner started myself over here, but this was awesome.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you. Always love it.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your evening, and thank you very much for those words. They really touched me, and I'm glad that we could give you a little bit of feedback as well.
A lot of love to you and your family.
Thank you.
Cheers, Seibo.
All right,
Bye.
take care, CK. Bye.